He joins us right now to talk about the new HBO Max series as well as his incredible career. Graham McTavish joins us this morning. Graham, how you doing, sir?
Very well indeed. Nice to be here.
Well, hey, let's talk about it. Last night it happened. I mean, there's a lot of buildup. A lot of people have been waiting for this show for so long. It comes out. First episode's here. How do you feel about it? What's been your feedback? What have you heard? How do you feel?
Yeah, no, great. I mean, I've been lucky enough to now see the whole season and obviously being involved in it, making it and all the rest of it. But, you know, when you're making a show like this, it's a juggernaut, it's huge, it's very, very complex, and it also has a legacy from the original series. You know, you're going to be a little apprehensive. You know, you want it to go well and you want people to like it, but the reaction has been great. So I think everyone's very, very, very happy.
You know, Game of Thrones, like you said, you used the perfect word. It was a juggernaut. And normally a follow-up show has all that anticipation, but rarely does it ever live up to the hype. And this show, I mean, everything on social media, all the reviews like I said, they're all off the charts. Everybody really loves it. But I think for people who haven't seen it yet, it is a Game of Thrones show, no doubt. But there's a different element to it. It's a prequel, but it's just at the heart of it, it's kind of a very complex drama.
Yeah. It's this for me. This is a family drama. I mean, the original series, you know, ranged over multiple kingdoms, there were multiple families, and all the rest of it. But this really concentrates on the one family, the Targaryens. I mean, there were people within the castle who are obviously part of other families, but this is something in a weird way that anybody in a family can identify with. The thing about these people is that they also have dragons. And they're not shy of murdering each other if they need. So I kind of compare it a little bit to something like The Godfather in terms of that sort of family drama element to it. That's what really I think in this particular instance gives it its strength.
Yeah, well, I'm from South Texas. We've mastered the family drama, trust me. So this is no shocker for me to see. But you know what? You mentioned the fandom, right? I mean, the fandom of Game of Thrones is so massive. But you've been a part of massive entities before, whether that be The Hobbit, DC movie, Aquaman, even Rambo. I mean, you were in Rambo. How cool is that? And what a fandom that has. Tell me about working with Stallone on Rambo, and then you did Creed. Yeah.
No, I am actually the only actor to have played opposite both Rambo and Rocky, which I am absurdly proud of. I told him that actually when I saw him again for Creed, and he was like, "Yeah, you're right. I hadn't thought of that. It's true. I'm the only one." And both of those experiences, particularly Rambo for me, because that was just such an intense shoot. We were literally directed by Rambo. So if you can imagine John Rambo as a film director, that's what the experience was like. It was very, very intense, but thoroughly enjoyable. And, you know, I was surprised when I worked on that he loves improvisation. I was really surprised. I didn't expect that at all, but he's a big fan of improv. So I loved that part of it as well. But yeah, it was an amazing experience.
Yeah, that has to be freeing as an actor, because especially Stallone, who is so involved in the story. I mean, wrote the first Rocky. A lot of times writers fall in love with their words, right? Yeah. And to give you that freedom must have been great. Coming up, you've had really a career that most actors would dream to have. Constantly working, major blockbuster pictures, television, video game voiceovers, and things of that nature. But coming up where you were born and raised, did you foresee this happening? Did you foresee, becoming a massive movie star and television star like you have?
Oh, no. When you're an actor I mean, I would challenge any actor to disagree with this. When you're an actor, in fact, I know for a fact that Paul Newman once said this about himself. You are always expecting somebody to tap you on the shoulder and say, "Oh, no, there's been a terrible mistake. Oh, good grief! No, you're terrible." And so there's always that little thing in your mind where you always carry with you. And when you start out in this business, unless you're incredibly lucky, you have to work really hard, and you get rejected all the time, and you have to pick yourself up and carry on. I mean, you talk about Stallone. Stallone's a perfect example. I mean, he was somebody I think he was in his 30s when he wrote Rocky. And, that's a man who is the perfect example of somebody who just gets up when he gets knocked down in his own life. And I think that's what actors do. They develop a very thick skin, and you have to be sort of almost insane to pursue this life.
Well, you mentioned someone like a Paul Newman or Sylvester Stallone. Who were your influences, though, coming up? I mean, who did you look to? Because I always think you have to steal from the best, right? See how the greatest do it and figure out what got them to that point. Who are some of the ones that you would really look at?
Oh, for me, I mean, I was still a massive Clint Eastwood fan. I was hugely, just every movie I've seen those multiple times. I used to stand in front of the mirror when I was a teenager and look at myself and will my face to become more like Clint Eastwood. I would just stand there and fire my brow. Come on, you can do it. But so there was him, people like Gene Hackman, who I've long admired as a great, one of the great character actors. And the wonderful thing about someone like Gene Hackman as well is that you know almost nothing about his private life. I mean, he conducts himself with such dignity. He's made incredible films, but he leaves that on the table and says, "That's me. You don't need to know anything more about me." And I've always admired that. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, and we really do live, though, in an age where, there is no such thing as privacy, even for people in the private sector, right? We put our entire lives on social media, and I do like my movie stars to have a little bit of a mystery about them. I didn't know, what Marlon Brando did every day. I didn't know what he ate at lunch. I mean, I knew he was Marlon Brando, and he was in The Godfather, and he was Jor-El. I mean, that's the extent that I knew about him, right?
Absolutely, and I think that's really important for me. I mean, I try and limit, anything about my own life to I barely talk about it because I think you owe a duty to the project that you're in and the character that you're portraying to try and make it about them. So I don't want people to see, me and my opinions about whatever it is. I want them to see me in the character, and that's. And they can see me in other characters, which is great. But I want the character to live. That's my job, and so that's what I try and do.
When you talk about character, you've been, like I said, in massive films, massive properties. I mean, sprawling epics. But you've also been in small dramas. Do you have a preference of one or the other?
I enjoy them both. I just did an independent film in Montana, actually, called Somewhere in Montana that will be out next year. And that's a lovely, local, independent movie that deals with big subjects, about, listening to people. It's kind of unfashionable these days to actually listen to what somebody else says who has a different opinion to you. But this movie is kind of about that. And I loved that sort of intimate, small-scale production. But at the same time, when you walk onto the set of something like House of the Dragon and you see the iconic Iron Throne at the end of this giant set, you feel, wow, I am part of something really huge. And that's great too. So I enjoy both of those things.
House of the Dragon, of course, debut episode happened last night on HBO Max. New episodes every Sunday on the great streaming service it is. Graham McTavish joins us this morning. Graham, one final question for you, sir. When you look back on your career or your life, somebody asks you, what are you most proud of? Your answer would be what?
Without hesitation, my kids. That's it, really. Everything else is everything else is gravy. But my children, who are still young, they're only 10 and 15. That for me is the thing that I'm most proud of in my life.
As it should be, as it should be. But an incredible career and an incredible series. House of the Dragon on HBO Max already. You can go watch the first episode. Graham McTavish is phenomenal in it, as is the entire ensemble. This is an ensemble cast of ensemble cast. So, Graham, we really appreciate you joining us, and good luck with everything in the future.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.